CardGamesTV Podcast. I'm doing a video version, but you'll probably just hear the audio version. But anyway, let me adjust. There we go. Adjust in my hand. Let's see what I want to talk about. Oh yeah, the stuff that I'm going to be doing in the near future. Card game related stuff, obviously. Like for example, streaming, things of that nature, recording, live duels. What else? Obviously, still do stuff like deck profiles and things of that nature. But then there's the stuff that I want to do that's, for the community purpose, right? Tournaments and things of that nature will be, stuff I want to do in the future. Be able to facilitate, better online play, IRL play, right? Be able to facilitate those as well as to be able to merge them, right? Be able to have them, my hands get tired, have them, go together. So that kind of stuff. I mentioned this before about the idea of the tournament center idea that it'd be nice that whenever they have a tournament, like let's say they have a tournament in Florida or something. Well, not everybody's from Florida, so it'd be hard for people who are like from Philly, like myself, or New York, or Jersey, or any place like that, to be able to go to that location unless you're flying out there or something like that, right? We will have more people enter events. We will have more people at events, right? Playing if the event was more accessible as opposed to, expecting people to be more accessible, right? If that makes sense. Because expecting people to pay $300+ for like a plane ticket or something, or a two-way ticket, just to go to a 1 to 2 day event and then go back. It's not really much of a vacation, right? So some people might be, but it's just expecting too much. That's what I'm trying to say. You're expecting, it's like let's say the entry fee for the event is $30, but you're spending over $300 just to even go there, right? And then you're probably only gonna play a couple rounds, and then they got some bad rules that a lot of people agree are bad that makes it even worse. That makes it worse. Like, damn, this wasn't even worth the time and money to actually do this stuff. Let me try. Sorry, try a different angle. All right. Trying to. All right. Anyway, so is the idea that we want to be able to make sure people can go, right? Can play. There's tons of people that like to play. I would like to play, but I don't always have the time. I work at night, as you can see. That's where I'm at right now. I work at night, so it'd be hard for me to play, especially when most events are during the daytime, because I'll be asleep by then. So that gets in the way for me. But that's another thing, being able to have events that are at night as well as in the day, will be helpful for those who do work night versus those who work days, as an example, something that'd be nice. But the other thing is, I do be having, obviously I have the weekends off, and the best time for me, like on Saturday, for example, will be afternoon, not in the morning because I'll be asleep, but in the afternoon, I'll be more available. And then on Sunday, I'm more available. But most events don't typically be on Sunday like that. Lucky for me, my locals does host Dragon Ball Super on Sunday, so that's convenient for me. So I've been going there, been playing. But when it comes to like major events and stuff, that usually tends to be on a Saturday, so tends to be a little bit of an inconvenient for me since they tend to try to do it early in the morning. I could try to manage it, of course. That just means I have to not go to sleep and drink energy drink, right, to stay awake to try to push through the event. But that's physically tasking, just to play a game, right, just to have some fun. But again, back to the traveling things, like some people want to go to an event and want to be able to play at the event, but they can't because of distance, right? And sometimes it's because of money, other things about timing, right? Because if it takes me, let's say I did take some form of transportation to go to an event, it might take me over 2 hours. you know, if I'm using like public transportation or something, or if I'm taking a flight, I might have to go a day sooner or something like that because of timing and whatnot. So those factors, get in the way. That you got to have the free time for it. So anyway, the point is I'm going to try to solve as many of those problems as possible. One of those ways is that I mentioned before was the idea of having it where you can go to your locals and they'll be part of the event, right? So let's say the host event is in Florida, so they're going to have a tournament in Florida, but all these other partner you know card shops, right, can help host the event as well. They could be part of it and have people come to the locals, right? Come to their place and participate in the event from that location. Because all they have to do, especially depending on the pairings and so that, they'll more likely be playing against people that are in the room with them, so they'll be able to play in IRL. But if they have to play someone that's at the main event, right, or at another location, right, then that's where you do the whole webcam thing. And then you have judges and stuff like that, so we can keep some integrity. So that way you don't have to have this whole like, oh, problem with webcams is somebody can cheat, blah blah blah. It's like, well, people cheat regardless. The thing is at least when it comes to webcam, you can at least catch it more often than not. So there's that. But like I said, you'll have some judges, right? Because you'll have staff at these different places, these locals, and they'll be judges, right? Obviously, so they'll be able to keep an eye on. You only need like maybe one or two people to keep an eye on the people that's going to be on the computers. But the thing is, of course, these locals got to have computers, right? Got to be able to host webcams, right? Webcams. Now, another thing is we're going to need a better system because right now a lot of people use Discord, and Discord tends to have a lot of problems. So it'd be nicer to have something more dedicated to it, something more powerful, right? So that's what I'm saying, like trying to solve problems. So, in the near future, let's say 5, I mean, saying 5 years from now, that's a long time. Some people are like, oh man, I probably won't be playing card games by then. I was like, that's possible. But there will be new generations of people playing. So even if y'all don't get to enjoy these improvements, these things, there will be a future generation that will be able to. So the point is at least do better, right? Be better. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to, these are types of ideas that I'm working on. Some people, like the old Naruto card game, and they would like it to come back. And ironically, all it would really take would be someone who's willing, who got the money, right? Who's willing to, bring it back, right? Be able to get the licensings and whatnot, get the ability to use the artwork and stuff like that from Naruto, and then continue the game, right? They can create new templates for the game. The game will still be pretty much the same, like mechanics and stuff like that. For those who already know how to play, can just come back in and play the game, but the look of the game will be a little bit different. So that way you can obviously you'll know the difference between the old version and the new version. You could still probably interact, play a lot of old cards and new cards, but logically it would make sense to remake a lot of old cards, especially cards that got erratas and stuff like that. You might want to be able to remake them, like what is it, Toby, right? So him, he has an errata, so you can remake him and give him an errata, right? Give him the errata, so that way you can play him the way he is errata to be played, as opposed to the way he used to be. I prefer his original effect, but to each their own, right? But that's another thing. Maybe some cards that, even though they have erratas in the older version, might get their original effects back, depending on how the way that the game is set back up. We could bring back some cards with their old abilities. If some cards are really popular, especially really popular, but they're OP. That's part of the idea, right? Of why they're popular is because they're OP. Maybe we can do something similar like Dragon Ball Super, where they the ultimate tag or something like that, right? Where, you can't have multiple copies of that card in the deck. You can only have one, right? So we could try to incorporate ultimate tags into the into Naruto. And there's a lot of other ideas. I had the idea of like adding artifacts per se, or equipment cards, basically tools. Somebody else in the Naruto fan base, they created a couple of tool cards. So it's like, oh, that's cool, right? They wanted it to be more of a reinforcement type of card where you have access to it from your reinforcement. I prefer it to be more a main deck type of card. So when you draw it, you can obviously use it and get some use out of it. I do like the idea of it sticking onto the field a lot like artifacts and Magic. So I like that idea. And there's other ideas we have floating around out there that we could obviously incorporate into the game. But anyway, tons of things I'm trying to do. I mean, not just for Dragon Ball Super, Naruto, and whatnot. Obviously, there's other card games I would like to be able to help out with, and be able to facilitate. Especially the main thing is at least competitively. Anyone can play casually. You can find any place to play, right? But to play competitively, that tends to be a little bit harder to do. Some players who like to play card games, right? Most of them used to, not they used to, but they probably are still, right? They are still like video game players, right? So they're used to the idea of just playing for long periods of time, grinding, that kind of stuff. So they're used to that kind of idea. So the fact that you have events like, like let's say out of a whole year, out of 12 months, you only get like 4 events or 5 events, right? And then again, they are in different locations, and it's hard for everybody who wants to go to be able to go. Think about it. You know what I mean? And I think of it not only as from the aspect of a player, I also think of it as an aspect of a businessman, right? When it comes to money, right? So if you want to make a lot of money from these events, it would make sense you get a lot of customers, right? A lot of players there. So you need to make it easy for the players to be able to get in there and play. I mean, how else are you going to get the money, right? You want the money, which is why it comes in handy with the idea of being able to do the thing I was saying of getting these other card games, these card shops involved in the event, in the main event, right? In a regional, national, whatever, right? In a main event. So that way they can make some money, right? Because obviously you should share revenues, right? They can make some money, as well as you'll make money because you'll get your piece of the pie, right? You'll get your share from them being involved in helping you. Plus, they're providing you staff, right? The judges there. They're providing you just the ability for more people to get involved in, right? One of the benefits of online gameplay, right, for like video games and stuff like that, is the aspect of online. The fact that no matter where you are in the world, you can be involved in an event, right, in an activity, just by being able to just log in, whether it be through your phone. I mean, that could even be a thing, being able, because Untap, you could play on your phone. So that's a thing. But you could also probably just use your phone as a webcam, right? Just set up your phone mat and this, that, third, and just go from there. Like, it just depends how we do it. Like, we're gonna find, obviously have that all figured out later on. And other factors, other solutions I want, like time for turns. This whole bullshit where it's like you get a certain set time for a round, and then you're hoping that everybody gets enough time to play their turns, enough time to, mainly enough time to play their turn. Because you end up in a scenario where somebody probably, like, let's say it's I'll say 30-minute round, just as an example. 30-minute round. So you think both players will get at least 15 minutes each, right? You think it'd be fair. It'd be 50-50. But no, a player could literally take up 20 to 22 minutes playing their turns, and their opponent only gets, I said 22, so 8 minutes. Think about how bullshit that is. One player gets way more time than the other one just because one decided to play slower or play a slower deck on purpose. So they're playing a slow deck that takes a while to play, right? Because you got so much you got to do. Search this, search that, play this, play that. tap this, blah blah blah, all this extra stuff, and then they're taking their time reading cards, looking at their cards, looking at your cards, asking questions like how many cards in your hands, how many cards in your deck, like doing all these things that deliberately is burning time. So that's a scenario, that's a problem that we have, just in card games in general, right? We like, from my experience, I played like the Yu-Gi-Oh Pro, Edo Pro game simulator, the Yu-Gi-Oh simulator, and it has a timer. It has like a 2-minute timer per turn. And there'll be times where like I'm trying to do this combo and it's taking long because you literally got to do every step, and the game just forces you to do every step. Like I would like to skip, especially if I'm trying to do like an infinite combo.
1 to 502 in church.
So, no, sorry, I lost train of thought. So copy. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the time thing. It's like, the people playing a strategy that's so this slow, and then they play slow. Like they take their time saying things, like even stuff that's not necessary. It's like you have no cards in your hands yet, you're still gonna say no negate, no blocks, no combo.
11 to 502 today.
That kind of stuff. And again, it's burning time, and we don't have time like that. That's very disrespectful to deliberately do things that it's just wasting time. But that's how some people are. Ironically, for me, I tend to win round one. Round one. I say round one. I mean game one. So if I wanted to be that guy, which I have integrity, so I try not to be, but I could be that guy. Since I win game one a lot, then I could slow play, right? I could take long playing out game two and just win in time. I could do that, but I don't, because that's disrespectful. I want to win. I want to win because I actually perform my win counts, right? I actually did the stuff that I built the deck to do, and I win because of it, right? That's the kind of flex I want. I don't want to flex that, oh yeah, I got W's, and then when somebody asks me, oh, well, what do you do to win? I just took very long and then I won. Like, what kind of bullshit is that? But there's people who a win is a win for them. Some people, they want the end result so bad that they will do what they shouldn't do, and what's improper to do just to get it. So humans are humans, right? I can't make cheaters not cheat. What I can do, however, is make it hard to cheat. Make it harder. Even if they find a way to cheat, as long as I'm making it harder, the better, right? So that's the thing. 'Cause I remember one time I had the idea that some people were complaining about, like sometimes the webcam, like when they're having webcam duels, the webcam will shut off, and there could be a possibility of cheating. So people are just like, oh, well, if that happens, the game, the webcam freezes or whatnot, then automatically want to label the person as a cheater and then treat them as such and then punish them for something they didn't do. It's like the webcam messed up, right? The server was overflowed or whatever they call it, right? It's not their fault that happened, and just to like essentially treat them like a cheater, like, oh, you cheated, you get a game loss or something like that. Like, that's not right, that's not fair. So then I came up with the integrity camera concept, which was the idea of having, like what you see me using my phone, having the phone right next to you, recording you while you're playing out your match. So that way, if the whole webcam thing turns off and whatnot, you can send the video, right, of you within that time, right, the time in which you're playing, because cameras do record what's it called, the metadata. It records timestamps, so you can be able to be like, well, here's when I was playing, and here's when the camera went off, and webcam went off and stuff like that. And as you can see, I didn't move, I didn't do anything else, I didn't cheat or anything. So and that's where the whole idea for, I call it integrity camera, just so we can maintain the integrity of the game, because it's unfair for somebody to get a game loss just because of a technological issue, something that's out of their own control. So that's why it's like something they can control, right, is having a camera recording them, and then they can show proof, like, here's a video footage of me actually not doing anything. I put my hand down and I just waited until the camera feed came back on, and then continued the match, or tried to continue it until it was interrupted, and judges had to be involved, so that you can send the footage to the judges and let them decide. The footage should be more than enough to vindicate you, right? To be able to allow you to continue playing the game. You shouldn't be punished for literally doing nothing wrong. So that kind of that's the thing, is like, I'm all about solving problems. So I hate it when people just love focusing on problems, and they think the solution to every problem is like banning cards or people or some extra dumb ignorant thing. It's like, no, let's come up with some solutions. Let's make the things better. Obviously, these solutions will apply to everything else. It just, since I do play Dragon Ball Super at the time, I'm getting a lot of ideas on how to make it better. In making card games better in general is like the idea of being able to host events and stuff like that, and be able to make sure we have the opportunities and abilities to be able to play when you want to, right? Or when you can. For some people, I always want to, but the thing is it's about having the time to do it, because when you're busy, right? Life happens, right? But it would be nice to be able to make sure that we have stuff that can help people be able to play more and be able to do more when it comes to the game, or any game you're playing, any card game. So those are a couple things I'm, one of the many things I'm trying to do. I'm trying to come up with different stuff. Got my own ideas for card games. Got a couple stuff out there already. So that's other stuff. So it would be, not too surprising that I have ideas for my own card games, as well as, obviously I play card games, so not surprised that I have ideas for my own games. And it'd be cool to put it out there. And then of course, I'll be able to host events and stuff like that for my own games. But why just leave it, just to my game, when I can apply these concepts and ideas to other games? So that's another thing that I'm looking into, being able to put my my ideas for tournaments and events and stuff like that into other games. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking into. And what else? Let's see. Oh yeah, moving to a new place, so that'd be awesome. I already have most of my chairs and tables and stuff like that over there already, and got way more space, more room, and I got a green screen and all that good stuff. So I'm trying to get more. I got like a camera stand and things of that nature. I'm trying to set up something so that I could it would be easier to make more IRL type videos, especially some gameplay. My teammate, just yesterday, he was talking about, he wants to play test, and it's like, oh, finally, we haven't done that in a long time, right? We haven't played against each other that much in a long time. Ironically, in this the event this weekend, when we were at the event at our locals, it was a pre-release, so that was ironic. I haven't been a pre-release, so that's my first one. So that was cool. And then it was the fact that we ended up being paired against each other, so we played. Then we both ended up getting buys at the last round. So since we had buys and there was nothing else to do, so we just played again. So that was cool. Very fun. I was playing my Zamasu deck, of course, and ironically, he had an out to my deck, so it definitely helped him beat my Zamasu deck, because he had the battle manipulator. Battle manipulator. He had that. He used the ability to put my Zamasu face down, so that allowed him to obviously be able to do me damage, because I rely on Zamasu's Awakened side, right, to take damage, right, so I don't have to negate as much. But he got me. He was able to use the effect and get me, put me in kill range to get me get me out the game, as it were. But it wasn't an easy match. It was, obviously, one game one, he got me. Game two, it was very close, very, very close. Game three, and he got me. And let me see, I'm trying to think. And then when we played for fun, what was it? What happened? I think he won that one as well. I think he was able to get me with, what was it? I can't remember. Trying to think. Maybe I won. I don't know. Obviously, we were playing for fun, so I can barely remember. I just do remember that he obviously was using the time, the hit unison, which was a big deal because it is a weakness for the leader, right? Oh, sorry. So is anything that can send my life to the drop as opposed to dealing me damage. Because battle damage and effect damage causes me to mill when I'm on my awakened side. But if you use a card that warps or places or sends my life to the drop, then you have a better chance of killing Zamasu. Obviously, Zamasu is not an unbeatable leader, obviously, but he is very hard to play against, which is the whole idea. The whole point of playing him is to make it harder on my opponent, so that way the game would be easier for me, because it's hard for them, easy for me. I don't have to worry too much about defending, but of course I should still defend, right? Try to reduce the risk of somebody having an out to my leader, so that kind of stuff. So what else? Well, I'm doing other stuff besides anything related to card games, but I just want to talk about stuff that is pertaining to card games. I got a lot of other businesses, things that I do to make money. I do sell cards online. I definitely need to put in more into that, put more time and money into that, to make money, right? Make more money. More money, the better, right? The more money I have, the more I can do, especially when it comes to facilitating these card game stuff. I would like to own, I call it a tournament center, but it would be cool to own my own card shop, or multiples of them, and of course,
502.
So, I'm definitely, looking forward to whatever other stuff that I do, card game related and whatnot. Let's see. I might as well just mention random stuff like making portable devices that you can use to play card games. Like dual disc. Some people will know that from Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual disc. So I have those projects. I have other projects similar to that. I have some scientific projects, obviously technology-based projects that can be used for any idea that I have. One of the things I wanted to do, especially when it comes to webcam, not only having a better server type setup, so we can have less issues when it comes to connectivity and online gameplay, right? But also have a system that can actually do multiple things. Actually be able to. I forgot what to say. I forgot what would be necessary. Oh, a timer, right? I would definitely want there to be a timer onto the system itself, right? Obviously, so that way, everybody gets a fair amount of time to play the game, because it's very unfair that someone can literally take very long on their turn and waste time, right? Just like it's very unfortunate that if it's your turn, right, even though you try to play fast, your opponent can respond slow, right? Can deliberately try to, I've had this happen to me a couple times right now, and it's unfortunate. Nothing I can do about it, but obviously complain, right? Having an issue with it. The idea that I play Turning the Tides, my opponent clearly has no hand. All their battle cards are in rest mode, or they're not there at all because I bounced them to the hand with the Super Saiyan 4 Goku Protector of the Earth unison, and then Turning the Tides, so there's literally no battle cards. So there's no battle cards, there's no hand, there's nothing that can stop, negate attacks. But my opponent will still proceed that as soon as I'm like, all right, I swing, they'll be like, you're swinging? Yes. 30K? Yes. No negate. I'm like, okay, no combo. And then they'll be like, no blocks, no combo. Like what? Like they'll try to go through the steps. It's like before we weren't doing this. Before we weren't going with the whole no negate, no this, no that. It's like I swing. You be like no response. I'd be like no combo, and you'd be like, all right, I'll take the damage, and that's it. That's how fast the attacks will go through. But as soon as I turn the tide, suddenly you want to go with the whole negates. No negate, no blocks, no combo. Okay, I'll take the damage. Then I do the next attack, same thing. It's like you're literally slow playing the fact that you can't stop this. I understand you want to do the whole no negate, no combo thing once you have a card in your hand, but you literally have no cards in your hand. So, and all the damage I'm dealing is crit. So why are you going through the whole no negate, no combo stuff? So to me, that's just automatically that's slow playing because there's no need for that. That only makes sense when you have cards in your hands. Then you are like no negate, no this, because you're letting me know that you're not going to respond with anything in your hand. But when you literally have no hand, you're not. Why are you telling me you're not going to negate? You're not going to combo? Well, duh, you're not. Clearly, you're not. That's the whole point. You don't have anything. So of course you have no response. So you don't need to vocalize that you have no responses. It's clear you don't have no responses. That's obvious. Common sense. So that's one of the many things I noticed that that people do to slow play. I've actually been asked how many cards I have in my hands when I literally have no hands, and they know I have no hands. I just turn in the tides. I clearly have no hand. Make that make sense, right? But anyway, whatever. So that's the kind of stuff that I tend to deal with. So what else? What else? Making. I did mention already making my own card games. Oh yeah, the technology. That's what it was. It was about the technology, about incorporating stuff like obviously time is important. Probably have a feature where you can. Oh yeah, I always liked the idea of having it where you can you can get like you could call for judge, right? You could call for judge without literally screaming out loud, but you can call for judge and have a judge be able to you know kind of like tech support, right? You can have a judge that's physically not there, just have access to a judge that can answer questions. I always like the idea of like it'd be cool if you had like a tablet, you had a couple tablets set up on the tables, for when people play, and if they ever needed a judge, they can use the tablet and request a judge, and a judge would appear, and you can talk to the judge, and you can use the tablet to show them. So it'd be like FaceTime, right? You'll be FaceTiming with a judge, and the judge can, judge multiple, not only multiple, duels in an event, but they can judge multiple events. Like they could be a judge for a regional, a local, and whatever, like that kind of stuff. Obviously, they'll probably be paid a certain amount. It'll be kind of like what is it called, like gig jobs, or gig jobs, or whatever they call them. Kind of like like Uber, right? Like Uber judge, Uber judge, right? Uber judge. So that'd be kind of interesting, right? An Uber judge. So whenever you need a judge, you'll be able to outsource, right? A tech support judge, basically, right? You'll be able to just call up a judge, and then somebody, can judge, and obviously they're getting paid, which is good. More reasons why you'll have access to judges is because of the fact there's going to be some money involved for them, so they'll be able to make some money making and the big incentive is the more judge calls they take, right? The more judgments they make, the more extra money they'll get, like a small set amount just for being available, just for being a judge, right? For being available as a judge. But whenever they are doing a lot of rules, the more they more judging they do, the better. So it could be kind of like a server type thing, where it's like they can literally see whole bunch of judge requests, and they'd be like, all right, well, I'm only going to do Dragon Ball Super. I'm only going to judge for Dragon Ball Super. So whenever there's requests, I can just go in there and just, click on a judge request and then just, hand out a verdict, right? And then exit out, go to another, judge request that needs a judge, and judge that one. Keep doing it, and you can earn extra money for judging these, for taking care of these, judge related tasks. So that'd be kind of cool. We'll see, how that develops. Obviously, I gotta get people who are way better at programming than me to put that type of stuff together. But like I said, I got a lot of ideas. Tons of people got ideas, and that's another thing, is that I like the idea of looking at the community, seeing what they think, what they have to say. Everybody's voice counts. The world is way different than it used to be, because way back in the day, back in the Einstein days, right, back in the Tesla days, intelligence was more revered, right? If you were a very smart person, you were essentially a celebrity, right, among people. But now the world is, upside down, so it's not about who's the smartest, right? Which is unfortunate. People don't celebrate intelligence as much as they used to. People like to think they're smart, but no one really celebrates true genius, right? True intelligence. People who are really good at solving problems. Instead, they prefer drama. People like problem makers, not problem solvers. I wish problem makers or problematic people tend to get more viral and intelligent and attention, and to become celebrities and stuff. Like, think about it. Look at the celebrities we have, the people we classify as celebrities. Are they the best humans we have? Are they the best quality of humans we have on this planet? Do they represent the best of the best of us? Not in my opinion, but whatever. So it's unfortunate you don't have a lot of, being smart in this world is equivalent to being dumb. So that's unfortunate. Because even I deal with that scenario. Like, some people, do notice my genius, as some people say, right? Some people do notice that, I have a lot of really good ideas, when it comes to the card games that I play, among other things. But there's some people that are just stuck in their ways, or they just, their way of measuring what's a good idea or what is smart based off of other metrics, right? Other people's viewpoints or opinions, and usually it's opinions, not even fact, not even something that's true. It's just an opinion. Most people's opinions about something is based off of other people's opinions about something, and they think that, oh, well, this is a good idea because of opinions, right? Because some people say it's a good idea. So that kind of stuff. So it always cracks me up, people's mindset, the way people think about certain things. Yeah, there was somebody back there. Creepy. See, somebody's stalking me. But anyway, but I'm trying to put my, problem solving skills, my intelligence, my money, right, into bettering the world, but also bettering the card game world, right? So we can have more fun, be able to do the thing we like to do. And the funny thing is, I had the idea for playing online, doing online webcam type stuff with the during the MySpace era, right, when MySpace was a thing. What was that, like around 2004 or something like that? So I've had the idea for playing online, playing card games online, because Skype was a thing, and that's, that was video, it had a video feature, so it's like webcam and whatnot. It's like, oh, cool, we can use this as a way to, well, besides talking to another person, is we can use this as a way to play, because all you really need to do is see the other person. right? See their mat, see their hand and all that stuff, and you'll be able to interact with them. So the fact that you can see another person, allows us to be able to interact even from many, many miles away. So that's why I was trying to, do the whole thing on MySpace, which was funny, right? Trying to do online, dueling on MySpace using, Skype and stuff like that as as our version of a Discord server at the time. So I'm one of the originators of the idea of doing that online. Also, the idea of teams, well, teams for card games, because obviously there's teams for like, basketball team, football team, that kind of stuff, right? But the idea of a team for card games, before there was even such thing of like, teams for like video games or anything like that, I was already with the idea of like, oh, it'd be cool to, be in a team, right? Be in a group of friends, which will be, your team will be mainly your friends, right? And y'all buy packs and boxes, stuff like that. Like y'all put money together to buy a whole bunch of packs, and then open them up, obviously, and then y'all just share the bounty, right? You'll share what's, because if you don't need certain cards for your deck, but somebody else needs it for their deck, obviously they get to have it, because the idea is for y'all to have y'all decks, right? So y'all can play and have fun, but also, if y'all go to tournaments, it'd be logical and better to have multiple people that y'all, because y'all friends, right? Playing at an event, so that way your chances of winning the event and winning the reward, right? Because if there's a prize, instead of you going by yourself trying to beat everybody else in there trying to get to the prize, you and your team can go in there, play at the play the event, and whoever wins can share the prize with the rest of the team. So then everybody ends up winning, right? So that was one of the original, well, at least the idea of why I was doing the whole team thing, and had the idea for the team thing, because like, why me compete with all these other people? Let's say it's 100-person event. Why me versus 99 other people, right? Trying to win the prize, when I could go there with like 10 other people and drastically increase my chances. Because the other people that I go with will knock off a whole bunch of potential opponents, that I would have ended up playing against. So they knocked off a couple people for me, and I have less people, less challenge, as it were, right? Less people opposing me that could potentially have prevented me from topping, as an example, and then that just gets me closer to the top, that kind of stuff. So that was like, that was the mindset, right? The idea of the game theory, as it were, of having a team instead of trying to play this game solo, trying to be a lone wolf, me versus the card game world type stuff. Is like, why not be part of a team? Why not create a group, a team? And plus, it'd be more fun, because it's like, if I'm traveling to events, well, I'd rather travel with people. I don't want to travel alone. It'd be more fun, traveling with people and stuff like that. Plus, I tend to have a lot of ideas, obviously, and I can't use all my ideas. I can't use all my concepts and strategies. I can only play one deck, right, when I go to an event, so I can only use whatever is in that deck. So any extra ideas, concepts that I have, it would be good to be able to share it with the members of the team, and then have them use it. So that way, everybody can benefit from, my ideas, especially if I have really, really good ideas, which I typically do. And the same thing with the idea of like sharing cards, and the list goes on. Just pointing out that, online webcam duels, and even the concept of teams, card game teams, was stuff that I came up with way, way, way a long time ago. Especially after 2001, when I started playing. 2000 is when I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh and other, Magic, and then Yu-Gi-Oh and then other card games. But since the 2000s, right, which was what, 22 years ago, long time, right? I'm old, and had these ideas. The thing is that the world had to be, had to evolve over time, right? Technology had to evolve to the point where I can even do what I'm doing right now, because even at that time, this wasn't a thing. So the fact that I can actually record myself talking like this and share my ideas, it took a long time, but better late than never, as they say. Just like it's better than late than never for me to put together this stuff that I wanted to put together, you know, since I did have the original idea of doing webcam tournaments, and to me, you know, online is the future of card games, especially if you could play card games through your phone, right? That'd be, you know, epic. Or through virtual reality or something like. I mean, imagine that, right? Virtual reality, you just be at home in front of a table, just put on a headset and just bang. Now you're at a regional or worlds or something, right? You're at a YCS or some, you know, big event, and you didn't have to leave the house. Like that'd be that next level shit, right? So it's like, it's not impossible. It's more about wanting to make it happen, less about can it happen, right? It's like anything is possible. You just gotta want to. And not many people want to do things. There's people who want stuff to happen, but they're not willing to put in the effort. I see a lot of people, you know, will talk online about, like, they'll complain about, you know, not enough events. But it's like, well, you're not trying to get your locals to host more events, or you're not trying to get a whole bunch of your friends. Like, let's say you have like 20 plus people you could get with and put money together and host your own event, right? Like, you could do stuff like that. Like, that's not impossible to do. It's just a matter of wanting to do it and then do it, right? Having the money to do it, the means to do it, the resources. Because there's some places around the world that have trouble getting one product to events. But, you know, we can, as a community, we can make it happen, right? We can get the products. There's multiple ways of getting things. We can get the products, right? We can host events, right? And the list goes on. One of the things I always liked was the idea that it's like, well, in order to play the game, you kind of need cards, right? But cards are just representations of the game. They're that physical, tangible representation of the game, right? So you can host proxy tournaments, right? Where you can literally just print out the cards, right? Just print them out on a piece of paper, sleeve them up, and bang, there you go. Now you have cards to play. Like, if you can't get product, but then just the artwork's online. I got tons. Like, I'm always going to the official site, downloading the images of the new set, you know, new card releases and stuff like that, so that I can, you know, make my deck profiles and whatnot. But if I want to make proxies, which reminds me, I got to proxy some stuff, specifically ultimates. They're a little pricey for me to just go buy them and then you know, use them. So I'd rather proxy them for a while until I really feel like I really want the card. But you get the idea. Is like, you can have proxy tournaments. One of the things I wanted to do with the Naruto card game was the whole proxy thing, right? Just design cards, especially new cards, right? And proxy some old cards, and then just use them. So like, I will host tournaments where I will allow proxying. I will even not only allow it, but I also will facilitate it, right? I will have the ability to be able to print out cards, you know, have the ability to print them out, and like, here's proxies, here's this, that, and there, right? So people can come and pay to get proxies, like, you know, and you have like a you know how they have the card cases. Well, imagine having like a proxy case where it's like, oh, here's a whole stack of Toby's, right? Here's a whole bunch of Toby's, Man on a Mission, I think it was. Is it called Man on a Mission? Anyway, and get it, you know, and you can just, you know, just buy them. Obviously they're proxies, so it'll be relatively cheap, maybe like a quarter copy or something. Not that big of a deal, not too much money, right? But it's the fact that you'll be able to use it for these, you know, these little events and stuff, because they'll be allowed, especially if they're, you know, for local tournaments and stuff like that. So, you know, proxy tournament, right? They'll probably be called proxy tournaments, because that means you'll be allowed to use proxies with real cards. Not saying there won't be real cards, but you could literally have a whole deck of proxies and that'd be okay, because, you know, it's a proxy tournament. But the fact that you can combine proxies with actual cards, you know, just makes the game a lot more accessible, a lot more fun. That's why I'm so surprised that I don't see a lot of proxying. You know, it's cool that I see Untap. You know, people have Untap tournaments, because that, to me, that's a form of proxying, right? Because you're not actually using real cards. You know, right? You're using just the images of the cards on an online simulator, all right? Um, but you know, that's why I'm like, proxying shouldn't be a problem, because it's a lot like using an online simulator, right? You just need something to represent the game, and as long as everybody's in agreement, everybody, you know, accepts it, right? Everybody's cool with it, then it's not a problem. Um, just even among my friends, I like the idea of, like, you know, proxying out and playing, you know, being able to play test certain cards, like play test Baby Hatchak or something like that, for example, or Cell Zeno or something like that, you know. And I do have proxies of those things. Now I do own the actual Cell Zeno. Granted, it's the reprint one, but still, it's still Cell Zeno. So, right, I still haven't gotten Baby Hatchak. Still waiting for it to drop in price. Just not because I can't afford the current price. It's just that I'd rather pay less. It's like, it's getting cheaper, so I might as well just wait until it's, you know, cheap enough where I'm like, yeah, you know what, I'll grab it now. Mainly because, like, you know, I grab it now because I need it now or something like that. Especially if I'm going to go to an event, I might be like, you know what, I want Hatchiak. But of course, I could play without it, so I'm not in a big hurry. It's not like I can't play the game without it. It's just that if I want it, I want it, and you know, that kind of stuff. But yeah, proxying, you know, something I expect to see more of. You know, in at least in a casual setting. I mean, it'd be cool to see in a competitive setting, you know, but you know, that's. Because to me, the game is the game. That's the thing. Is like, you know, you definitely want people to play. I mean, and like I said, I'm looking at it from a player's perspective, but I'm also seeing it as, like, I guess I use the term TO, a tournament organizer perspective, right? Where it's like, well, I want people to play, I want their money, right? So I would do what I can to encourage, facilitate them to come through, give me money, right, and play, right? Because I want them to play. I want them to have fun, right? I don't want them to feel excluded from the activity, right? This fun game that, you know, or fun card games that we like, just because of finance, right? Just because of their financial limits. Because again, it is just a game, so it's you know, does suck that there's a financial component when it comes to a games, a hobby, something that's meant to be, you know, something you do because you like to do it. You know what I mean? Imagine if you had to pay to breathe air. Imagine if you had to pay for your heart to beat, you know, to be beating or something like that. That'd be right. That'd be ridiculous. So, you know, having a bit of fun, you know, interacting with other human beings shouldn't have a price tag per se, right? Not, at least not a high one, right? But oh well, that's just the state of the world we're in. I talked long enough, and that'll be the end of the podcast.